comunidad de Molloko. En aquellos años 1200 a 1300, Molloko estaba despoblado. Apenas existían unos cuantos clanes. En las pampas pastaban vicuñas y en los cerros posaban los cóndores.
In the 13th and 14th centuries, Molloko was sparsely populated by a handful of clans. Vicuñas grazed on the plains and condors perched on the mountaintops. By the 15th century, the community began to be populated. The Gilecaturas settled the area south of the Pucara mountain, an area today called Chinac. The Tapacaris settled to the north. They dressed in alpaca skins, a similar custom to that of the Choquela. The area today is called Pucara.
O sea, al pie del cerro, Yanamure, se encontraba la población Inca Ayu.
The Inca Ayu communities settled further north, at the foot of the Yanamuri mountain. The chief of these communities lived in the Maiku Amaya stone towers, Inca constructions that had been preserved intact. The Spanish conquest halted this civilization at the end of the 15th century. From then on, the Spaniards enslaved the people of Molloko in forced labor down the mines, among other tasks. Hundreds of inhabitants extracted gold, silver, and copper in the mines of Minuri in the Yanamuri mountain.
Centenares de pobladores molloqueños trabajaban sacando oro y plata y cobre en las galerías de Millune, o sea, Cerro Yanamure. Según cuentan nuestros abuelos, que
Our ancestors told us how a mysterious ball of fire flew as fast as an eagle from the north and crashed into the mines. The impact caused a cave-in, burying hundreds of workers and a few whites. This decimated the population little by little.
Enterrando a centenares de trabajadores y unos cuantos blancos, de donde la población fue diezmado poco a poco. Así pasó siglos tras siglos, hasta la independencia, de donde la población.
So the centuries passed until independence, when this community began to grow once more. In the 1950s and 60s, it organized itself as neighborhoods. In 1967, it was officially proclaimed a peasant community.
En los años 1967 es reconocido como comunidad campesina. La comunidad campesina participó.
The community made 4 forays to recover land. It recovered 50% of the land it lost to the Spaniards and to state cooperatives. In 1965, it bought alpacas and we formed a farming company. As the years went by, the animals reproduced little by little, producing meat and wool. That was when we started making offerings to the Pachamama, the earth goddess. We made a custom of sacrificing these animals every carnival.
Al pasar los años, estos animales van reproduciendo poco a poco, ya sea en lana, carne y otros. Y desde ahí empezamos a ofrecer a estos animales a la tierra Pachamama. En todos los carnavales acostumbramos a sacrificar dichos animales para hacer cancacho.
Cancanchu is a ritual lunch where alpaca meat is eaten. They are sacrificed in a Wylancha, a ceremony held the same morning. Wylancha is a sacrificial ceremony to the Pachamama to ensure a good future. Similar ceremonies are conducted during carnival time in many places throughout the Andean region. In the Molloko community, Wylancha includes a series of features that help us understand the ritual and social meaning of these ceremonies.
A nuestra empresa comunal siempre es así, entonces saludo con todos. Entonces yo les rogaría que pasemos con un poquito de calma. Bajamos con calma, no la costumbre que vamos a efectuar arriba. Entonces les ruego una vez más, todo con calma. Entonces una vez concluido, todos en conjunto, con nuestra chacallada, a nuestro lugar, que es nuestra comunidad Molloko, donde tenemos la actividad hoy día de estar compartiendo con los demás comuneros. Hemos venido solamente una delegación. Entonces en la tarde nuestra bailadita, la costumbre hoy día, quiero que pasen muy felices, señores comuneros. Muchas gracias.
7 sectors of the Molloko community take part in the Wylancha. 1 alpaca per sector is sacrificed. This means that each sector establishes an individual reciprocal relationship with the Pachamama. The Wylancha, however, is a collective activity which unites the whole community, thus reinforcing the links between the different sectors. In recent times, the communal Wylancha has recovered its importance after a period in which it was celebrated at a family level. The institutionalization of Molloko as a peasant community during the 1970s has undoubtedly generated the need for strengthening a common identity for all its sectors. But the issue is not a simple one. At different moments of the Wylancha, we see 2 opposite developments. First, the ritual stresses each sector's autonomy, and second, it reinforces the communal sense of identity. The sacrifices of alpacas takes place in the morning. To carry it out, representatives of the 7 sectors meet together in Umachuco, a village where the community has its livestock and pastures. 2 holes, one representing the female and one the male, are dug in a higher spot next to the corrals and always in the same place. Both are showered with chicha, coca leaves, and petals. They do the same thing with alpacas before the sacrifice, because humans must share with their animals what they share with their gods. The throat slitting of animals has in this context a propitiatory meaning. It is to guarantee their reproduction. In the Andes, the throat slitting of people and animals symbolized victory over the enemy. In the Kari myth, we find the theme linked with the idea of regeneration. At a ritual level, the severed head is associated with seeds, and in many places, including Molloko, the head is buried in order to propitiate the reproduction of livestock. Blood from the sacrificed alpacas is poured into the male hole. Part of it is poured into 2 big wooden mugs called queros. Later, the blood is sprinkled on the earth and the mountains along the 4 directions. This blood offering also has fertility connotations in the Andes. The blood is associated with water and semen, and its penetration into the earth through the hole mimics the reproductive act. The hole where blood from the 7 sacrificed alpacas merges to compose one single offering serves as a unifying ritual space, underscoring communal identity. The ritual table, located at a point higher than the sacrificial spot, is presided over by 2 paku, or local priests. They are community members who have the wisdom to direct the Wylancha. They are in charge of reading the coca leaves, praying to the mountains and to the Pachamama, preparing and burning the main offering or iranta, and interpreting the ashes. Each sector puts the heart of its sacrificed alpaca, wrapped in aluminum foil, close to the carefully selected coca leaves. This is the main offering, which is sprinkled with wine. The ritual table thus is another space in which communal identity predominates. Throughout the ceremony, 3 different sorts of vessels are used for the liquid offerings. They always appear in pairs: 2 small keros for liquors, 2 shells for wine, and 2 big keros, which hold the blood from the sacrificed alpacas. Once all the alpacas have been sacrificed, the president of the community invites the 7 sectors to drink liquor in the keros containing the blood. Even if the paku have control over the ritual displays to be performed, the president of the community assumes at certain moments a leading role. He first ordered the opening of the Wylancha, and he now calls together the 7 sectors, embodying the communal identity.
A ver, los 7 sectores, salud, 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 Tapacha. Ustedes también toman comportamiento.
After the president and the paku drink from the keros containing the blood, a commissioner, escorted by a woman, offers liquor in these keros to the whole assembly. The beverage, as every other offering in this ceremony, is a contribution made by each one of the sectors. While the intestines of the animals are cleaned, the waste is collected in a second hole, known as the secondary or the female hole. Apart from being a hygienic procedure, pouring waste into one hole and blood into the other symbolizes the separation between life and death and the old and the new, which had been united within the alpaca's body before the sacrifice. In this sense, Wylancha is a purifying act in which the whole world is reordered, giving birth to a new cycle.
Yeah.
Once the animals are sacrificed and disemboweled, the second most important act begins: the burning of the iranta, the main offering. This is made of alpaca fat and the heart, as well as especially selected coca leaves. Before the leaves are placed in the iranta, the paku prays, sending petitions to their gods through the leaves. The iranta is covered with aluminum foil, which symbolizes wealth. Then it is showered with wine, petals, and paper streamers. The bonfire in which the iranta is placed is ignited with dung. In addition, it is then smoked with tula, a herb from the highlands. After requesting an increase in livestock from the Pachamama and the mountains, it is time for the burning. While in other parts of the Andes the offering is buried, here it is put directly into the fire. Later on, the Pacu will interpret the ashes. The whiter they are, the greater next year's livestock production will be. The practice of giving the gods those products whose production they expect to see increased has become very common. This principle of symbolism is also present when men and women begin their return to the Molloko community. Escorted by their ensemble of chacayos and drums, they dance in circles, imitating the movements of the alpacas. They move to the chacras located at the lowlands, where they will celebrate the cancanchu, or ritual lunch. Communal identity assumes another dimension at the cancanchu. Now, representatives of the 7 sectors who participated at the Wylancha join the rest of the commoners, who have worked that morning in the first potato harvest. Here, the communal identity reveals itself not only in the union of the 7 sectors, but also in the complementary nature of shepherds and agricultures. The group that carried out the Wylancha arrives first and sets itself up in the chacra, accompanied by its musical group. Each sector, however, will separate from the rest, occupying a particular spot in the chacra. At this moment, the separation of the community by sectors is again observed. In the following steps, we will perceive 3 tendencies: one towards the community, another towards a dual division, and the last towards a separation by sectors. Arrangements begin for the kankanchu that each sector will carry on separately. The group that during the morning reap the harvest arrives accompanied by their own musical group. The presence of two such groups underlines the dual division between farmers and shepherds. By noon, both groups meet in the field. They greet each other and celebrate their meeting. This type of ritual encounter, which appears also in other Andean festivities, has important connotations. Here, complementarity and interdependence of opposite groups is stressed. The ritual table displayed by the pacu and the chakra becomes once again a unifying space. The two groups, farmers and shepherds, deliver their produce. The heads of the sacrificed alpacas, as well as the potato yield, are placed on the table. Everything is showered with wine, liquor, and flower petals, as if they were just a single product constituting the community's wealth. This communal union is symbolically sanctioned with the dancing of both groups, which move around with their respective musical ensembles. The kankanchu starts after the dance. Each sector eats its ritual lunch independently. While the union of the two community halves was represented on the ritual table, the two moieties of each sector, the one that participated at the Wylancha and the one that did the harvest, join around the kankanchu table. Wylancha in the morning and kankanchu in the afternoon aim both to propitiate pastoral and livestock production and to reinforce communal identity, institutionalized during the 1970s. This ceremony is an example of how social changes are incorporated into a traditional ritual and symbolic system. Two structures coexist within communal identity. First, the dualism between shepherds and farmers, and second, organization among the 7 sectors. And even if throughout the ritual both structures have been projected within a certain order, the festivity ends in great fun, in which everybody takes part.